Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of Pepito Live. We are here today with our favorite immigration lawyer, Marcela Burzian. Marcela, welcome.
Thank you, Pepito, for the invitation.
Thank you, Marcela, for accepting and doing this special interview with us. Today we are here in your office in sunny San Jose.
Yes.
Right across the street from La Sabana.
Yes, we have a beautiful view, as you can see.
Absolutely. Marcela, a little while ago we did a special interview with a group of immigration lawyers because we were hearing like a lot of complaints across Costa Rica from people who had filed residency, and they were complaining about backlogs and immigration taking longer than usual time to process demands and so forth. And we had done the special show, and at the time, immigration had committed in making some changes. That's meant like maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago from that. Now, what's happened since then? Have things improved?
Okay, Pepito, we mentioned in the last show, immigration has a huge delay in residency applications. So we were like pushing immigration to give us a solution. So they hire people to check on residency file. They pay extra hours for employees inside immigration to check on files. And they did. I mean, they are working hard to accelerate the process for the approval.
At the time, Marcela, we were talking about several thousand applications waiting.
Right. The problem is that nobody knows how many pending applications they have, but we calculate that it's thousands of residency applications pending. So the government or immigration, they took the decision to accelerate the process, and they have been working hard. And part of the steps that they took is they prepared a resolution that was published July 1st. And by this disposition, they are changing many rules that were established in the law for so many years. So it's kind of, it's a difficult situation now because they are changing the rules.
Okay, we're going to get to some of those examples, but if you're saying they're changing rules in the law, Can an administrative office change some specifics of the law in Costa Rica? Or?
If you are answering my question, because you are not a lawyer, but you know that this cannot be done that easily. I mean, if you want to change the law, what do you need to do? Change the law? Exactly.
Back to the chambers.
Exactly. So they didn't do that, and they are changing dispositions in the law. And me, as an immigration lawyer that has been doing immigration for 35 years, I'm really worried about the situation. And it's not only me. Many immigration lawyers, we are really surprised with this new disposition that was published July 1st, 2025.
Now, can you give us some examples, like some of the changes that they are imposing?
Okay, for example, they are changing, now they are saying that if someone wants to apply for the residency and is not in Costa Rica, the power of attorney must be granted in a Costa Rican consulate, or a Costa Rican notary must go to Canada to do the power of attorney. That was not included in the law, and they are changing the rules regarding the special, because to apply for a residency is just a special power of attorney. It doesn't have to be in front of a notary because it's not that formal. It's just a simple power of attorney. So they are changing the rule regarding the power of attorney. And the worst, Pepito, is that this law was published July 1st, and they are applying the law retroactive. I have clients that were denied the residency because they didn't follow the rules of the disposition of July 1st, of the new rule, but they applied for the residency January 2024, and they were denied the residency.
Wow.
Second example, they are forbidden the possibility for the foreigner to appeal the denial of the residency. So in this case, my clients were denied the residency. Immigration is applying the law retroactive, and I don't have the right to appeal because in this new disposition, they are including that a foreigner is not allowed to appeal. And how can I fight against this if immigration is making a mistake? Because they are applying the law retroactive to my clients, and I don't have the right to appeal.
So what are some of the examples that would, in the past, allow an appeal?
Every case, I mean, if they deny your residency, you have the right to appeal. Because in some cases, immigration, they make mistakes in the resolution, so they don't check carefully the file, and they say, okay, Pepito, we cannot give you the residency as a retiree because you didn't submit the pension letter, and the pension letter is in the file. So they deny because they didn't check carefully the file. And so I have the right to appeal and tell immigration you're making a mistake, so revoke the resolution and give my client the residence.
So isn't that doing actually what the opposite of what the objective here is? Instead of accelerating a process and making it more streamlined, we're actually adding a new layer of bureaucracy on the whole process, because instead of fixing an issue in the process of the appeal, okay, here's my letter, then you need to restart everything all over again. It's more stress, more work for you, more work for immigration, more work for everybody. Isn't that achieving the reverse idea?
Again, Pepito, you are answering. I mean, that's logical, that's common sense. I mean, the government, they approve a law to attract investors to Costa Rica, and they wanted to simplify the process. And immigration considers that this new disposition is simplifying the process. That's their point of view. But for me, as an immigration lawyer, I mean, if my client is missing the pension letter, why don't you give my client 3 months to complete the process? Exactly. Imagine that I have a client that started the residency process in January 2024. 4 months later, he was denied the residency because he didn't have the pension letter. And he was in the process of getting the pension letter. But now, because we were pushing immigration to give us an answer fast, they are denying the residencies fast without giving the client the possibility to complete the process. It's easier to complete the process than starting the process all over again. And I mean, how can a foreigner understand these new rules from immigration? They may realize that Costa Rica doesn't want them in Costa Rica. I mean, that we don't want them in Costa Rica, and that's totally the opposite.
So you're sort of like speaking on this issue here today. Thank you for sharing that, being honest with us. Are there any other immigration lawyers sort of like doing the same thing, fighting like you are?
Of course. I mean, the only way to fight this disposition is by taking legal actions.
Okay.
And we are taking legal actions. Me personally, I'm taking legal actions, and I know different lawyers that have been doing immigration for so many years, and everybody is surprised with this new disposition. So we have to take legal actions to fight against this disposition, because it's not possible for that from one day to the other they want to change the rules by a simple disposition. You are not a lawyer, and you already asked me how come they are changing the law without going to the chamber and change the law.
So you had spoken in a previous interview, and when you had the group of lawyers, you had mentioned that you had filed some complaints, some 100 complaints or more, to an ombudsman office or something, or the Office of Citizenship, or what do you...
That's what we call Defensoría de los Habitantes.
Okay.
Because immigration had so many pending files. Me personally, I was submitting appeals at the ombudsman, and so they push immigration to do what they are supposed to do, and I submitted over 150, 200 complaints, and they approved my residencies. But I mean, how why do we have to do these complaints if immigration is supposed to do what they are supposed to do? I mean, if we don't have foreigners visiting Costa Rica and applying for residency, immigration will never exist. I mean, what will be the point to have immigration in Costa Rica? If we don't have foreigners applying for residency, they will be with no work, no employees at immigration.
So I'm going to ask a question here, maybe it's a little bit political. I don't know if you want to really answer that, but I remember when the current president of Costa Rica was elected, I think 2 years ago or so, and he had mentioned that, one of his objectives was to reduce bureaucracy in Costa Rica and all those tramites all around the country. And now it seems like we have a tendency that's going in the other direction. Do you believe that the president of Costa Rica is in tune with what is happening there? Is there somebody out there who's sort of like...
I guess he doesn't know, the president. I guess he's not aware of the situation because he has a ministry designated for this area, and I guess he doesn't know the real situation inside immigration. As I told you before, I know that immigration was collapsing because after pandemic, we got thousands of applications because every foreigner now knows the importance of having the residence in Costa Rica, so they didn't expect the tsunami of applications, and they have the same number of employees. So how can I say? I do understand immigration, the situation inside immigration, because I used to work for immigration. But now that they are taking this disposition to change the rules legally, everything that is established in the law, they are changing that through a simple disposition. I don't agree.
Here's another quick question. We talked about that in the previous interview also. We're hearing rumbles around the country of some people who are paying to certain lawyers extra fees that eventually could possibly make their way into immigration office to sort of like
accelerate
their process. Is that something you think is a common practice? What do you think about that? So people...
Not really. I mean, I will never advise someone. If a lawyer is telling you that the residency will be approved in 2 months, 3 months, be careful, be careful. I do tell my clients, I will never ever pay anybody to do what they are supposed to do. So immigration now, they are working fast because they want to get rid of the accumulation of residency applications. But the way they are doing that, for me, is not the right way, because they are making mistakes. And I have many cases, and I mean, where they made a mistake, and in the resolution, they said, you have no right to appeal. So what, I mean, you have two appeals. The first one at immigration and the second at the Tribunal Administrativo Migratorio. So I'm going to the highest court right now to appeal, but I don't know if they will accept the appeals. So I have many clients that I appeal for them. It's costing me extra time, but I fight for my clients. But I mean, I feel so bad because you are a foreigner that wants to be legal in Costa Rica. And immigration is just putting obstacles for the foreigners who wants to be legal in Costa Rica.
Who wants to do things properly.
Stamp-free. I mean, that's something that I cannot tolerate. I mean, I feel so bad for the image of my country because the president approved a law to attract the investors, and on the other side, we are just putting obstacles for them to get the business.
Well, Marcela, thank you for speaking up, and thank you for being straightforward and honest with us here today. If people want to reach you, they could go via your website.
We can be sure that I will be fighting for you until you get the business.
Do you think people who are dealing with Marcela appreciate the fact that you're honest and straightforward, and you're not trying to butter things up. You're saying,
No. I mean, I am honest. Many people, they don't like to be honest because then it has consequences. But I just prefer to be honest.
thank you, Marcelo.
Thank you, Pepito, for inviting us.
Pura vida.
Bye-bye.